Sri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. Narad Muni says to King Prachin Barhi, O King, by the arrangement of the providence, the living entity accepts many categories of bodies and wanders around throughout the universe and in many places. After passing through all kinds of species, forms, the living entity attains a human birth which is suitable body to receive liberation. But in human form, if someone engages in temporary material sense gratification and works to attain them, then that person becomes cheated by the providence. Such a person is like that of a person who became victorious in a sport but became defeated. Almost victorious but was defeated. Such people are called unfortunate, unlucky, because they reach to the gateway of a palace of the king and come back empty-handed, or bring a piece of glass in the name of diamond. If a person engages in the service of the Supreme Lord, worships his lotus feet with whole heart, really, honestly, sincerely, and becomes attached to him, then the real goal, the ultimate goal, real goal of human life becomes obtained. Real fulfillment of every category of motivation of a person is included inside attaining the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And that is possible only through devotional service. If somebody gets entangled in material sense gratification, that person forgets the Supreme Lord and develops further attachment to them. In such a condition, that person becomes totally ignorant and becomes tied to the repetition of birth and death. If by chance he becomes lucky, the Supreme Lord himself comes to that person in the form of scripturally authentic spiritual master and teaches the science of how to obtain mercy of the Supreme Lord. It is stated, Guru Kṛṣṇa Rūpa Hon Shastrera Pramane. Guru Rupe Kṛṣṇa Krupa Karen Bhakta Gane. How nice it is. The Supreme Lord himself takes the form of a scripturally authentic spiritual master, comes in front of that pious soul who had accumulated lot of merits from their past birth and teaches the science of God so they can obtain mercy of the Supreme Lord. This Guru is the blessing to the living entities in this world. If one follows the instructions of a scripturally authentic Guru, their liberation from this world is guaranteed. For them, miseries turn into pleasure. Tie to this world becomes severed. Thus receives liberation, becomes liberated, free from birth and death. Naradi further says, O king, material body is the chariot for the spirit soul. Is the chariot. Sin and merits are two wheels of this chariot. 5 knowledge acquiring senses, eyes, ear, nose, tongue and touch, are the horses harnessed to the chariot. The movement of time, the year, month, year, days, all that, rotation of a year is the movement of the chariot. Days and night are living entities, active and resting times. When person falls asleep and due course of time starts seeing a dream in which the sleeper occupies another body in the dream. Person who's sleeping takes up another body in the dream and moves around everywhere, independent to the sleeping body, the physical body. There is another body. Similarly, the living entity moves in this material world, although it's spiritual. So this material world is a dream to the living entity. So when living entity wakes up from this dream, then understands that was a dream only. And waking up is accepting spiritual life. The 5 life heirs are the protectors of this body. Mind is the rein harnessed to the horses. Intelligence is the chariot driver, and the spirit soul is charioteer of this body, the owner of this body. Happiness and distress are the 2 yokes harnessed to the chariot, attached to the chariot. Just as a person sleeping and occupies a body in the dream and moves around, similarly, living entity using this body moves around in this material world and enjoys material sense gratification, which are all temporary. The hunting for material sense gratification in different places and gathering them is like going to hunt in the jungle and killing innocent animals. No one wants to become old in this world. but they are prone to become old because material nature controls their life. Sea provides 360 days and 360 nights in the form of a year and moves one year after another, thus brings the living entity to accept or become old. No one can prevent this. That is the law of material nature. The Chandaveg is considered to be this movement of the time, year. That occupies the living entity. Yavanaraj is the death personified, and his brother Prajwar comes in the form of hot and cold fever at the time of death, which cannot be cured. Kalakanya is Jara, old age, which makes the living entity becomes helpless. Bodily and mentally miseries of body and mind are the soldiers of Yamaraj, which torture the living entity. If a person performs meritorious deeds, goes to heaven, and then come back again to take birth as a human being. A person performs sinful deeds, acts against contrary to scriptural evidences, then he goes to hell and suffers there and returns to this world and takes a lower category of body than human beings. But if somebody performs spiritual deeds, serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service and chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, becomes free from the cycle of birth and death, receives liberation, goes back to Godhead. If sins and piety are mixed together, they take birth from from earth back to earth. Means those who perform pious and sinful deeds on earth, when they die, they take birth again to earth, on earth. They don't go to heaven, no, like that. Sometimes the living entity occupies the body of a man, and sometimes the body of a woman. Sometimes it's transvestors, unique. But the living entity residing in that particular body is neither a man nor a woman nor a unique. But after accepting that particular body, that living entity identifies with that particular body, that I am a male, I am a female, I am a unique, transvestized. When living entity performs sinful and pious deeds, that person becomes tied to like that of handcuffed, becomes handcuffed. Pious deeds are like gold handcuffs, and sinful deeds are like iron handcuffs. But both are handcuffs. Living entity becomes tied. Means pious deeds take him to heaven. He enjoys there, he or she enjoys there for 10,000 years, again takes birth here. He takes birth there in the heaven and dies there and takes birth here and dies here. So birth and death tie is called handcuffs. So they are golden handcuffs because he enjoys in the heaven, also enjoys here. But if person is just sinful, maybe enjoying here in this world due to last birth, karma, good karma. But after death, this person goes to hell and suffers there, and dies there and comes back here and suffers here. They are like tied to the iron handcuffs. But those who execute devotional service to please the Supreme Lord while staying under the guidance of a perfect spiritual master, they become free from tie of any kind of handcuffs. And they go back to Godhead, live with God. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyiti kathita hyartha prakashanti mahatmanaha. All the revealed scriptures and all sages and saintly people have said that anyone got equal devotion to Guru and God, they surely become purified and go back to Godhead. Sure. They are the only ones who become free from repetition of birth and death. Until or till living entity is tied to sense gratification and remains entangled in it, cannot experience freedom, cannot experience relaxation from the reactions. Just like a person who went to jungle, cut a lot of wood, made into a bundle, and lifted it, put on, placed in his head, and comes to his village, carrying the bundle, and feels pain on the head, and takes the bundle to his back, thinking, possibly I will have little relaxation. But there is no relaxation, removing the weight from the head to back until the weight, the bundle is put on the floor. Where is the relaxation? Just temporary freedom from misery, head pain to back pain. That little temporary relaxation might be there. Similarly, until one takes to spiritual life, there is no relaxation by executing pious deeds or sinful deeds, because that tie of gold handcuffs or iron handcuffs remain. Real relaxation is available to a living entity at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Sri Hari, Lord Kṛṣṇa. Nowhere else. Just as a person sleeping on a nice bed sees a dream that somebody is beating him and he feels pain and cries out. Even sometimes it's seen. Person's crying while sleeping, feels pain. That pain cannot be mitigated until the person wakes up. After waking up, sees, oh, there is no pain, there is nobody beating, I'm sleeping on the bed. Similarly, until one engages in material sense gratification, material world, in the material world, that person is sleeping and experiencing pain and pleasure. That is a dream. When the person wakes up from this dream of material life, by accepting spiritual life wholeheartedly, the problems of material life cannot be mitigated. One must wake up. waking up from material life is accepting spiritual life wholeheartedly, not superfluously. Living in the material world, experiencing happiness, so-called, is just a dream. One must wake up, accept spiritual life. A person is somehow becomes lucky due to merits performed in previous life. The Supreme Lord Himself comes in the form of a scripturally authorized Guru to lead the living entity back home, back to Godhead. Guru Kṛṣṇa Rūpahan Shastrera Pramane. Guru is Lord Krishna, and this is the proof, evidence in the scriptures. Sri Gurum Paraman Tattvam Tishtantam Chakyuragrataha. Manda Bhagya Napashyanti Ulka Surya Ivoditaha. Lord Krishna comes in the form of scripturally authorized Guru, a pure devotee, to extend His mercy through His representative. But those who are sinners, they cannot see the scripturally authentic spiritual master, even though he is seen physically in front of and sitting. Just like an owl in the daytime cannot see due to sunshine. Similarly, these people cannot see because their misdeeds are covering their eyes. Some people think inauthentic Guru is their savior. They are in a great Maya. Anybody who has taken initiation from those who are not authorized by scriptures, they should give up that Guru. And there is no offense for giving such Guru up and accept an authentic spiritual master. One must serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead systematically. Very important. Systematically. Samyaka prakarena means one must have full faith first in devotional life, must have desire to sever the tie of cycle of birth and death, accept a scripturally authorized Guru, follow his instructions, and serve Lord Krishna through devotional service sincerely. Then it is called Samyaka Prakarena, means systematically. Then, if one does that, then darkness and ignorance from the heart is dissipated. And real knowledge arises in the heart, and one develops detachment to material affairs. This is the outcome. Narad Muni says, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Samahita Sadricinena Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Jala Janayisyati. It will become. Knowledge and detachment will arise. Sincere execution of devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee, Guru. Sochiradeva Rajarse Syadachyuta Kathastraya Suranata Sradadhanasya Nityada Syadadhirata. If somebody with great faith reads the transcendental narrations of the Supreme Lord regularly, daily, or listens to them somehow from a pure devotee, not listening to some pandits or so-called devotees, no. Then, in due course of time, mercy of the Supreme Lord will bestow upon them. After receiving mercy of the Supreme Lord, what remains further to receive for an entity? Everything is received by Yasmin Vigyate Sarvamevi Vigyatam Bhavati. By knowing whom, everything becomes known. One must endeavor to know that person. The mercy of the Supreme Lord depends on reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Must open the book and change the pages with the hands, touch the book. God has appeared in Kali Yuga in the form of a book. Touch the book, read the book, change the pages. In modern day, soft copies, that is not right. Real thing one must have, not artificial thing. The narrations of God emanated from a pure devotee's mouth. Surely bring the blessings of the Lord. Because they take the living entity closer to God, thus make him purified, pure devotee. After one becomes pure devotee, there is nothing remains that is not available to that devotee. Everything becomes available. No problems of the material life can disturb such a devotee's devotional service. Devotees also experience some kind of problems, but they never stop their devotional service because their heart is purified. When heart is not purified, when problems come to the devotee, they give up doing devotional service. That means their heart is not yet purified. The nature of living entities to experience hunger and thirst. And hunger and thirst become obstacles on the path of devotional service. A person is hungry or thirsty, he cannot do devotional service. That's why taking of prasadam and mahaprasadam is prevalent in devotional life. When you cook vegetarian food, offer it to God, that becomes prasadam. And you eat that, your mind becomes clean. And heart becomes clean. Thus, devotional service becomes very easy to perform. Narada Muni says further that, Prachin Varhi, listen, even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Swayambhava Manu, Daksha Prajapati, Sanak Sanandan Sanatan Sanat Kumar, great sages, Marichi, Atri, Angira, Bhrugu, Pulaha, Pulatsya, Vasishta, and I, Narada, because he is speaking, Narada, even though meditate on the Supreme Lord for so long and carry on devotional service and search for the Lord, still he is very difficult to obtain. He is obtained by his will, by his mercy only. He can be obtained. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Very easy for a devotee because he is very merciful. That is called bhakta vatsala. Very easy to obtain God if you become a real devotee. That is the condition. That is a bet. You bet pure devotional service, guarantee you will win your case. Such great sages, such great personalities, day and night, search for God through meditation, still not available. But he becomes available by his will only. Yada yasyanugrunhati. See how nice. Yes, yada yasyanugrunhati Bhagavan Atma Bhavita. Sajahati matirloke vede cha parinishchitam. When somebody becomes wholeheartedly a devotee and executes devotional service, Lord becomes pleased and by his will he comes, not because of your devotional service. His will he comes. The important thing is he is supremely independent. Because he is supremely independent, by his will he comes, not your devotional service brings him. Whomsoever Lord blesses, he sees him. That person sees him. Thus obtains, like that. Narada Muni further says, O King Prachin Barhi, you should not see spirituality in your karma kanda, in ritualistic ceremony, fire sacrifice. Karma kanda, just word to listen, to hear in the ears, sounds pleasing, but it is not pleasing because it is ritual. This has nothing to do with spirituality. No connection whatsoever. And does not bring the blessings of the Supreme Lord. Don't reward any blessings of God. But externally, arrangements, fire sacrifice, swaha and all that seems to be spiritual, but it is not spiritual. It is filled with ignorance of spirituality. Ignorance of spirituality filled with this karma kanda rituals. Whoever's intelligence is misguided or contaminated, such people, they think Vedas are everything and they follow rituals from Vedas. But because they are less intelligent, they do not think the Vedas, at the end of the Vedas, what is available? They don't know. Vedanta is the end of the Vedas is Kṛṣṇa. Vedant Krit Veda Videva Chaham, Lord Kṛṣṇa says in the Bhāgavad Gita. Such people, if they understand the essence of the Vedas, Lord Kṛṣṇa, then they go back to Godhead, sure. But those who are less knowledgeable, Ajnanis means ignorant to spirituality. They accept and perform rituals that are mentioned in the Vedas, such as Karma Kanda, and forget to receive liberation in the human form of life. O King, you have done this, performed Karma Kanda, and you were very attached and performed many fire sacrifices and grew kusa grass meant for fire sacrifice almost everywhere. And thus became very proud. Karma Kanda makes heart become hard, like a meat eater. Meat eater's heart, very hard. Those who have eaten meat, their heart is not soft. They may have become devotees, but because they ate meat, they cannot have soft heart. Soft corner is hardly there. So, those who perform Karma Kanda, their heart has become very hard. Thus, they become very proud. Those who have eaten meat in their past, they remain proud. Their ego is big. And they think they're great. See? Such people, hard-hearted people, proud and think themselves to be great. That is the problem. One has to be humble and think me small to be stroll on the street. No, they talk, but they do not appreciate and act that way. O king, there is only one way to please God, is through executing devotional service sincerely. It's only one way. And the goal of human life is to perform that and obtain liberation. Narada Muni says, Harirhi dehavritam atma swayam prakritirishwaraha yatpada moolam sharanam yataha khemo nranamiha. O king, human body is rewarded to a living entity to obtain liberation. If somebody forgets this duty of obtaining liberation, cannot please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If somebody executes devotional service wholeheartedly, Lord becomes very pleased with him. Lord Sri Hari Kṛṣṇa. If somebody worships him following rules and regulations, then surely that personality who is the supreme controller of everyone, becomes happy and acts, physically comes in front, because he is the best friend of living entity. That Supreme Lord, who is supremely independent, by his will comes before pure devotee. That's why one must take shelter at his lotus feet. This is the only way to go back to Godhead. Thank you very much.